Hi, my mic is muted. Hello. Just checking my mic settings. Welcome to July. I'm really excited to share this video with you guys today for all of our Patreon supporters. I totally forgot to send out a reminder video, so most of you will be watching a recording of this at some point this week, probably. It is my birthday today. We have a special guest. Brian Teal is in the room with us. Yeah, energies has been crazy this last few weeks, so I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about this meditation that we're doing today about our life purpose, which is what I really like to do on my birthday. And so I feel like the medicine that is coming through me these days has often and strongly been about lucidity, coming into lucid presence about what our soul is doing here on the planet right now, especially the people who are attracted to and drawn to my work and these songs and the transmissions that are coming through. It is so much about the embodiment of our soul and the gifts and the mastery that our soul has brought here to earth at this extraordinary time to share with humanity. And of course, we're gonna do a quantum healing in the second part of our video just to help everyone integrate the energies that are here. So I invite you to take some deep breaths. And just to bring all of our parts, all of our energy back into the presence, back into our body. As we prepare to have these conversations that bring us into the lucidness of our soul presence. I'm so happy to be sharing with you on my birthday because it's always a really special day. Not in that I normally don't celebrate in the ways that people do, but it more becomes a deep meditation about why I've chosen to incarnate on this planet on this day 25 years ago. And so the week prior leading up to today has been really intense in the amount of deep healing that this energy that's coming in has been supporting. And I know that a lot of people in my life, both in the online community and in my physical reality, have all been going through really intense transformations. And I hear a lot about July being a month of deep purge. Check sound. So maybe we talk about what is being purged and why things need to purge before greater levels of light can come in to be embodied. It's like you have a glass and it's your body, and this glass of water can be filled with your own soul's loving energy or be filled with polluted water or energy, and living in the false reality that we were born into. When we first wake up, we'll find that we're probably not really in our body at all. And the process of awakening is both awakening our mind and our higher senses and awakening to who we really are, and also awakening to the degradation and distortions to our genetics and our energy field that have gone on the planet for a really long time. And so it's always a two part process of, as these energies, as these distortions are being purged, it creates more space for our true self, our soul essence to express in our body. And so, some of the things that have been purging for me have just been older ways of expressing myself, ways that, my teenager and my toddler and my um, early 20s self were choosing to express the energies that um, the geometries of energy that I was expressing. A lot of them were programmed by the society, right? Um, and I think when we engage in this kind of psychic energy work that a lot of my work is based on, it's really the quickest and most efficient way to move through these purges because it moves into the foundational level of energy. So we're not doing like psychological healing. We're kind of almost moving around some of those things. Of course, it's always a multidimensional and a holistic experience that as these geometries are restored, these energies are released, we do go through psychological healing and psychological transformation, but I find that is a more effective way. This is a way that we can avoid going to a psychiatrist for 10 years and not really make any forward momentum in our healing, right? By just going to the root, going into the body, going into the energy body, and sensing where our distortions, our density is being kept. So, I want to share with you a little bit about how this healing modality came through to be worked with. And it began in 2015 when I went to my first Vipassana meditation retreat. And for those of you who may not know, this is a 10-day silent meditation retreat that is facilitated by this man whose name is Goenka, and he created a foundation in the early 1900s, like early 19, I think it might have even been like 1920s, not sure. But he teaches this sort of Buddhist meditation called the Vipassana. And these retreats are largely funded by donations to his foundation. And so it's actually a free retreat, and they feed you delicious Indian vegetarian food, and they take care of your lodging so that you can just focus on your meditation work for an entire 10 days. There's no talking, and you don't really look at anyone. It is an entirely inward process. And the basis of this technique is that you scan your body with your awareness of places where there are tension and density and pain. And in this teaching, they mostly tell you that you pretty much learn to ignore it or you learn to overcome it with the strength of your awareness. And so when this was being taught, I was mostly um, intuitively guided to do a very similar meditation, but that was slightly different. And it was very abundantly clear to me that I was being guided to do this because I was literally not able to do anything besides the way that I knew how to do it, which was scanning my body, but just at a quicker rate than what was being taught. And this was when I first started noticing that there were implants or foreign energy in my own body that did not feel like it was here to serve my uh, expression and creation. And so I started removing these things from my body. There were implants in my sexual organs and in my lymphatic system, and also in my crown and in my third eye, and places like this. And so I just intuitively knew how to start removing these. And as I was removing them, energy started flowing through those places in my body again, where before there was either pain or numbness. So this happened for 3 days. I was clearing a lot of things out of my body. Of course, if you're meditating for like 8 to 10 hours nonstop, this pretty much ends up being what you do. Um, and so on the fourth day, this being started to come and visit me, and he really looked like Buddha, and he showed up in a on a cloud, and he was hanging out on a cloud, just really chilling. He had really sweet energy. He was having fun. He told me that he was kind of like my star uncle in a way. And every night they would play these videos of Goenka speaking about Buddhism and these teachings, about the technique and about the spiritual precepts. And it was really funny because I would have these complaints. There's a lot of outdated belief systems and distortions in even the Eastern religions, just like there are in Christianity and other religions. And so a lot of the distortions in Eastern religions come from this need to suffer to improve. And I remember in one of the videos, Goenka was saying that there's misery and there is just misery in the universe or something. And I was very upset by this. This is not how I experience the universe. Um, and so I'm kind of complaining to this Buddha being, and he's laughing, because he's like, I'm really sorry. Like, I really didn't mean to say those things. It's kind of distorted. And also that these teachings are really out of date because those teachings were shared with people like 5,000 years ago when the civilization and the consciousness of humans were way different. So different, especially during this time on Earth since, like, the 1990s, when the galaxy has entered the photon belt and consciousness in our quadrant of the universe is really increasing. And so, what humans are capable of embodying and experiencing as their own consciousness now is drastically different and so much more than humanity 5,000 years ago. And so this is the reason why that these techniques have been upgrading inside my own body, knowing that I have probably practiced these techniques in previous lifetimes and also understand the meta science behind how they work. And so for the fourth to the seventh day, I continue to have visits with Buddha, this being, and he pretty much shared with me just a restructured version of how these teachings and techniques are to be shared now. And it's so not religious. It's really like, a science of realizing that our body is made of energy, and that when our consciousness incarnates into our body, this is the science of incarnation. And this is the science that the ancient Tibetan Buddhists and various shamanic cultures have all studied for thousands of years. And even in the terminology, it would be considered a science because science is our awareness, learning about reality, finding truths in the reality. And so we are engaging in something that is not purely spiritual and not purely religious and not purely energetic, but actually, in fact, something very real. We're talking about the process of our soul coming into our body, our process of remembering who we are and the knowledge that we have brought here. And that brings us to why we engage in advanced energy work. Um, and the reason for that is obviously most humans live in a state of total disconnection from themselves, from their own bodies, from even their family members, and feeling as if we live in a separate bubble away from the earth, which is obviously even kind of a delusional mental illness in a lot of ways. And so this is what I'm calling the false matrix. The false matrix is a false reality that our body and consciousness exist within that is not actually connected to the truth of the universe and the earth, to the physics of real consciousness. In that, in the false matrix, our consciousness is kind of looped to think about and process information in a way that is, again, separated from creation, um, and life itself. And so when we first wake up and we realize that we're having an embodiment process. We're having a soul coming into the body incarnation experience. We begin to think of things in more of an energetic perspective, of recognizing that consciousness and energy and life are really synonymous. We come to recognize that consciousness is more than just our present moment awareness, but actually the aliveness of all things. So it's the aliveness inside biophotons. It is the aliveness inside particles that create the universe. It is the aliveness inside water, and is the aliveness that is inside or behind consciousness, which helps us be aware, which moves us in a way of recognizing ourself. So at a certain point, we realize that our consciousness is the stuff that makes up our soul, and that our soul is the one that is having this experience, and that our body is really not separate from that, especially when we are having an incarnation process. And I think that this is where a lot of confusion in the New Age community is, and even in various distorted religious teachings, that, we've come to earth just to figure out that we're actually spirit and we're trying to get out of our body. We're trying to, ascend out of our body. We're trying to get rid of this heavy, dirty thing that is our body. And these are ridiculous distortions, because the reality is that our body is a miraculous and beautiful creation that was created with the intention of our soul and our consciousness to have this physical experience. And that our physical experience was originally intended to be one that is harmonious and enjoyable and pleasurable and sensual. It was why we have all these sensory organs that allow us to taste sweet things and smell fragrant flowers and look at the beauty that is all around us. This is why this planet is full of beauty that we can see with our eyeballs that are on our head and are in existence. And so when we come into this presence of lucidness, where we can kind of merge our, how to say, common sense, when we merge our common sense with our central body, we just naturally realize these things, that this body is created with the intention to experience beauty and joy, and that this is really what being enlightened or being embodied is. We begin to experience what was intended, and that is heaven on earth. And when we begin to experience heaven on earth inside our own body, inside our own consciousness, and in our own reality, we anchor this vibration so that more people can experience this on earth as well. And now we're coming back to this original topic of discussion, which is advanced energy work. And I say that it is advanced because we're upgrading from just, sending healing energy, where you're like, okay, I'm sending you energy, but my conscious awareness don't really know where it's going to or what it's doing. I'm just intending for you to receive this energy and in places that you need it the most. And when we activate and cultivate our psychic senses and our higher sense capabilities, and really learn to actually see energy, um, then we are actually um, very precise with the intentions that we're sending. Like, oh, you have this implant or this blocked energy in this meridian line. I learned to reach proficiency in this work, has always been doing it on myself. And as beings who are awakening out of the false matrix. Again, this is the quickest and most efficient way to come into homeostasis, to come into balance and presence in our body. The only reason why our soul cannot be in the body is because there are other programs that are not in alignment with our soul that are already in the body from before we realized we had a soul, from when we were living inside the false matrix, or stuck emotional energies or fragments of other people's energy. All of these things keep our soul from fully coming into the house, which is our body. And so I also feel that this is the quickest path to enlightenment, or balance, or awakening, or whatever you want to call it. And the reason for that is just that consciousness naturally exists in a state of exaltation, of divinity. And it's only that in the false matrix, when we're in purely 3D and we've forgotten about all of those other higher understandings of reality, that we are separate from our own inherent divinity. So when we just start clearing out those distortions in our body and our consciousness, what we're going to notice is that we naturally begin to feel divine and feel connected to everything, because that is the natural state of consciousness everywhere. It's the natural state of all the animals that live on this planet. It is not the natural state of stars, of trees, and it's the natural state of human beings. So I feel that spirituality and enlightenment is actually inherent in every body, in every soul, and that all we're doing is unlearning, destructuring all of the false belief systems that had been instilled upon us in the false matrix from our upbringing, from the religions, from the education system. And so, of course, there's so many levels to this awareness that we're gaining. In the old times, people think that only seers and psychics are able to access these skills, which is actually, these skills are just inherent in the human body, kind of like we have eyeballs, we can see, we have a mouth, we can taste, we have higher sense perception tools in our third eye and our energy body that allow us to see into the energy realms and what in 3D we would refer to as the invisible. And some people think that you need to see, like you close your eyes and you literally see cartoons and vivid colors. That's not necessarily the case. Everybody have different psychic capabilities. And for myself, I'm more of an audio and sensual person. So I receive my psychic information via clear cognizance. And so when I sense into the body, I actually feel where the tension and where the darkness is. And I don't necessarily see very clearly with my vision, which it's like I see, but it is still invisible, but a part of me sees it. That makes sense. And so if you're scanning yourself and you're assuming that, or you're visualizing like these different frequencies of light energy, when I say, okay, now we're going to imagine this bright blue light, we're more feeling into the frequency of that light more than needing to see it. And some people will see it easier than others. If you don't see it but you feel it, that still counts. You're still using your higher senses. It might just not be the visual one, which again, we all have different strong senses, and we can use those to empower our other senses. I see that a couple more people are here live right now. I want to say hi to you. You're welcome to type in the chat box to let me know that you're here and to share with me who is here. Um, so, I just want to talk just a little bit more about this meditation on purpose. So last summer, on July 6th, my birthday, I was driving across the continent with my four kittens on sort of a grid work mission. And on the day of my birthday, I was pretty much in the middle of this drive, somewhere near Kansas. And since the moment I woke up that day, I said, okay, like clearly I'm not living a normal life here. I'm definitely not in a cubicle working a job or in school. I'm actually in my car by myself with these cats doing grid work, which is just, it might sound crazy to some people. And so I decided to dedicate the day to, hi Morgan, yay. So I decided to dedicate the day to meditating on my life purpose. And I asked Spirit to send me signs. And what I was doing basically on that drive was I was realizing that all the kittens had connections to different star systems, and they were all born on the super sacred Pleiadian land in Vermont. And we were drawing these lines and anchoring the star energies into the ley lines on the ground. And I realized that I was driving pretty much next to train tracks the whole time. And I had a friend basically share with me that around the same time that a lot of human trafficking occurs on trains and also in like FedEx trucks and things like that. Because they're privately owned corporations and they can cross the border without being checked regularly. If they had like papers, they can kind of just um, cruise right along. So that's how a lot of human trafficking occurs. And so I was driving along these lines and really feeling into like the fear that those children and those people would feel, and how that energy of being trapped and being enslaved, and that trauma was actually being pressed down into the ley lines, and that radiated out into the people. And that was part of the energy that suppressed the freedom of the masses. And so I've already been doing this for 2 days on this drive, and it was really intense, right? I think it was good I had the kittens because at some points they really got really dark, and the kittens would be jumping from like seat to seat, having like a super fun time. So they really kept the energy light in the car for me. But so on my birthday, I'm praying, I'm doing this work, and I'm saying, okay, Spirit, like send me a sign. Like, what is my life purpose? Why did I come to Earth on this day, you know, 20 odd years ago? And at 3:33 p.m., my phone starts doing this crazy thing where it goes, "Meow, meow, meow," and then, I pick it up and the screen is locked and it's stuck in this crazy alarm. And it says, Amber Alert, a child has been abducted or something like that. And I thought, it came at 3:33 and I'm doing this work, and I think, this crazy energy came over my body, and I was like, "Oh my god, like this is my sign. This is like what Spirit is saying." And it was the super lucid energy, the super lucid medicine that came for me, of recognizing that uh, it's not like a fun cruise that we're on right now, right, on the planet, like ascension and embodiment and spiritual work and things like that. It can really bring, with it feelings of elation and ecstasy and bliss and all of that. But what we're doing here is so much more than that. Like, I like to say that enlightenment is only the beginning, because when we are enlightened, it really only means that our soul has gotten into our body, right? It's not the end point of the journey. It's really the beginning. It's supposed to have happened, the moment we entered our body, and our village is all around us, and our village has been telecommunicating with our soul for the whole 9 months that we've been in the body. So, everybody already knew who we were, African cultures. That was how things were supposed to be. Our soul comes to the body, our whole village already knows. we move into being in our body and we grow up and we are already in a state of bliss and empowerment and embodiment, and we actually do what we came here to do. And so we're kind of behind in that process because, we're kind of birthing all over again when we're coming out of the false matrix, when all of these false personalities and ways of, communicating have already established. It's this process of dying or deleting all of those things and then rebirthing, embodying our true self. And only then we come to this point of being present enough to look around and say, okay, something weird is going on and I can do something about it. Um, and so this is not like enlightenment or, spiritual growth is not a thing on its own. Like, that's not really the only reason why souls come to earth. Souls decide to have a physical experience because we're learning how to create on a physical level in the form of music and painting and architecture, um, and even in, understanding the ecological genius that is here on this planet. Like, these are the things that souls choose to come to earth for, not just to awaken, and then maybe, ascend out of the body again. So um, I feel like part of my job, my role as like a way shower right now, is just being really open and vulnerable about my own process and about the kind of level of devotion to being lucid. And I learn a lot from my mom, who um, is very much like most North Americans, watching TV and, oh no, there's all these bad things happening in the world, but I'm just going to keep my head in the sand and pretend that things are fine because that means that I don't have to experience the fear right now. That means I can live in this false bubble of false security for just a little longer because everybody else is. And I know on some levels I am preaching to the choir, but on some other levels, this is also just the lucid energy that I'm guided to express a lot lately. Because I think that there is always that little bit, like, um, I know Morgan has recently actually taken the epic leap of leaving her corporate job. Um, and, good job. I'm super proud of you for being so courageous. I'm definitely not telling everybody to quit their job. I'm saying we need to work really hard on becoming lucid, on making soul level decisions, and making radical decisions. Because there are a lot of false spiritual programs out there, especially in the New Age community, that are trying to distract us at full force. Every channeled article, everything that says, greetings, humans, like everything is fine and you're gonna have financial support and blah, blah, blah. Everything that's dangling like a possible future so that we stay stagnant and um, limp in our own reality, that's distraction, right? Like, nobody is coming to save us. There are energies that are here to support us, but we are the ones with the human bodies, and we're the ones that are really going to be able to make a difference. And doing this advanced light work and doing the inner healing is the first part, because we're learning that our consciousness has a palpable, visceral effect on the physical, as in our physical body. When we become adepts at moving energy inside our own body, we realize that our consciousness and the physical reality are connected. And that then, when we expand our awareness into higher dimensional realities, embodied, we realize that all consciousness is the same consciousness. Um, and that our ability to move energy in the physical reality extends beyond our physical body, but into the entire physical reality as the divine angelic consciousness that we are. And so, in this way, working with our own physical body becomes this training ground for us to achieve mastery over energy, to direct and create and move energy with our consciousness. And with that, I think we're going to move into more of an energy, quantum healing in just a second. Um, we're going to do some planetary support as well, because these energies that are coming in are hitting us, but they're hitting everyone. And there's a lot of genetic purging that's happening. So we want to send some love and energy to our humans. So I invite you to get comfortable. If lying down is what helps you be most relaxed, then please um, lie down, you can sit, whatever your body is feeling good about right now. We're just gonna get ready to open up our energy space. Okay, so I invite you to take some slow, steady, deep, full belly breaths. Feeling grateful to ourselves today to have the courage and the strength to bring us to a place of evolution and healing, not just for ourselves, but for the entire universe. And in our gratitude, we're opening to receive energy from the celestial realms to assist in our healing and restoration process. We're intending that all the shifts that occur today are in alignment with our highest love and our highest joy. So just breathe into all of the cells that are growing in the body, consciously connecting with every biophoton, every strand of light, every molecule and protein. There are places in the body that look a little darker or denser than other places. Send your conscious enveloping yourself in the light of your own soul's essence. So, what we're doing right now is connecting the light of our conscious awareness to every filament of our physical body. And we're connecting in with all the people that are here with us right now, and also in the future, now moments, sending love and affinity. When you're feeling anchored in your connection, you can begin to scan your body, or you can simply ask your body where it needs attention first. And you might feel your awareness move there. And we're intending the source of all of creation to assist us in removing all vibrations not of love, not of our own soul's essence, from our body and field. Return to source to be reconfigured into the light. You might feel that as you're lying down, you feel the force of gravity. Try to sense as this gravity as a communication channel. Sense the piezoelectric movements from the earth into our body. That's a channel of communication between us and the earth that is available at all times. You might feel that there are vines or plants that begin to grow over you, enveloping in a hug. Feeling the frequencies of organic Gaia consciousness. You might feel a field of green and pink energy move about your body, transforming the vibrations of your body to be in resonance with organic consciousness. It might be a sort of relief and calm that you would feel as if you're walking through the forest. So, what's happening right now is that we are activating this capability in our DNA to create our own bio environment in our own aura. And this is a capability that we had in ancient times when we didn't need clothing to stay warm because we could just keep the temperature inside our own bio environment, in our own aura, whatever it was that was comfortable to us. This is part of our energetic immunity. And as we work with activating this capability in our aura, we're actually also protecting ourselves from EMFs and 5G. And of course, this is a process. It's like you're doing push-ups. You can't expect this skill to all of a sudden come online and, be good, be strong enough to protect you from all of those discordant energies. But this is a practice that you can do to strengthen your aura and your psychic capabilities of creating. So we're feeling all discordant energies leaving our body. And all the while feeling more at home in our body and in ourself. Breathing an emerald green light into our heart field. Okay, so there is a energy of stagnation here that is ready to be released. You might feel it in the liver. It's kind of like a frustration. And source of creation, we're commanding that all frequencies, thought forms, energies in resonance with frustration and anger with the divine are being taken from our bodies and fields, restored to source to be reconfigured into the light. And so it is. Breathe. Breathing energy through any fields of stagnated energy, bringing movement, freedom. This is where sovereignty begins in the movement of energy within our own body. And clear. And clear. And clear. So for beings who just came in, we are in the middle of a healing process. You can simply lie down to receive the energy and tune into the field here. We are learning about the multidimensional capabilities of our aura. Clearing out all distorted energies in the solar plexus, covering up all energies that don't belong here, wrapping it all up in a ball of light and extracting it out, returning to source. And clear. And clear. Free. And Source fills our body, fills our aura with the love light of our own soul's essence. Breathe. I just had this idea. I think I put myself on mute. I thought maybe if we got Brown Boy, we can make a deal with Aurora that Brown Boy doesn't have to stay here. Like if we can figure out, like maybe he could stay at Full Circle or something with a friend, and then we can like have him and Cheeky hang out, so it's not like so immediate for Cheeky.
That's a good idea.
Sura. So there's a film of energy around, it's almost like wrapped around our essence or our genetics and our aura that makes us like scared of the divine or scared of God or scared of the earth because of our personal interactions with our parents. So as a child, as a human, we have this subconscious understanding that our dad and our mom are kind of our God. And so we subconsciously believe that all energies of Divine Mother and Father are actually those energies. And so if there were any traumas or misunderstandings, it could actually create a separation between us and our divine parents inside ourselves. So we're restructuring this field now, releasing any resistance and fear to connecting with the inner divine mother and father, and fear of punishment. Yeah, good job. Whew. And breathe. Yes. So much divine inspiration flooding in right now. I am so happy to be in this space with all of you, nurturing this trust, this delicate connection within us with our own inner divine mother and father. I also feel like people subconsciously feel the divine mother father thing in us, and so if they have shit with their like dads, like Blue Star, they're just gonna like treat you like they're his dad and wanna hurt you. Yeah. Almost seeing that there is a baby inside your belly, but it is not a real human baby, it is just yourself. And we are giving our self that is always a child in some ways, always needing nurturance and love. And we can establish a strong sense of our own inner divinity to nourish ourselves. We are basking in the joy of connecting all the parts that were maybe malnourished inside us with this love. Basking in the delight of this divine energy as we surrender and open all the places in our body that may be tense, that may be vulnerable. Allow this energy to caress those places. Mm. Allow this energy to move through any constrictions, any binds in energy. Bring more space for joy. And releasing all resonant frequencies and geometries in relation to self-loathing or self-hatred or self-judgment. All of those energies unrelated are taken from the body, return to source to be reconfigured into the light. You are infinitely worthy of divine love. It is the foundation of this universe. Jaya Araya Jaya I'm feeling a spark of curiosity for the living mysteries that are around us on this living, beautiful planet. Know that this is a string that as you pull, that which fulfills your own soul's longing and your own soul's hunger will also be the medicine that you will keep for others. In actuality, what's happening on earth is really quite simple, and the solutions then are really simple as well. In that simplicity, there are infinite complexities of magic and beauty, but it all comes down to the separation that humans are feeling away from their divine mother, the earth. And this separation from their own inner divinity is truly the cause of all of suffering. And that in order to be a healer or a way shower, one must only find your way back to the sacred connection of your innermost self with the planet, with life. This sustained connection feels like support, understand, a loving friendship of telecommunication as the planet is alive. She can communicate with us. And I pray for each and every one to find their own connection to that lucidness and the abundance of magic we have access to us. And that magic was made in the foundation of love. And so that we use this magic and we use this awareness to share love and healing and reconnection with others. Because this is the medicine that the masses need now. In gratitude, we put blankets of golden energy on each and every one so that all the shifts and healing that occur today are permanent. May these files of aura strengthening unpack in you and inspire creativity. I'm feeling complete in the transmission today. If anyone has any questions or anything you want to explore in our future transmissions, please comment. Know that we're just in the beginning of me understanding how to create space for this kind of thing. It's a really new expression that is coming through. So I appreciate all of your love and support so much. I'm myself recognizing that there is a beautiful energy that is here to be shared with people that carries this incredible medicine of nurturance and reconnection. And I'm grateful for all of your understanding and help in helping me discover the best ways to share these transmissions. Good. I'm so happy to hear that. We should feel good. Yeah, and if you feel like you're loving these, do share the Patreon page with anyone that you feel would benefit from these. I'm only feeling that there is expansion. You're welcome, Morgan. Just feeling it. Yes, it's going to be an exciting year, I feel. And I am so happy to spend this beautiful day of birth with all of you. Know that this energy is always around. We can connect to it at any time. This is just the frequency of organic Gaia consciousness. And um, again, the more that we spend cultivating this field around us, the more that we can protect ourselves from, EMFs and 5G, mind control, and all sorts of stuff like that. And of course, we share this with others who are also on the path. Thanks for the feedback, you guys. I love you all so much, and I will see you soon.